Well, I heard about the project a while. It's been out for a couple years. They've been talking about the project. It ain't something that just came out. And when I first initially heard about the project, my thoughts was the same as they was before. My thoughts was before was a fight for jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I fought for jobs before, wasn't successful, but there was different dynamics involved this time, and I said maybe this time we can be successful.
Because you fought for jobs at Metro Tech.
I fought for jobs at Metro Tech.
And did you deal with like Ratner's people then, or?
I dealt with some of Ratner's people. I can't remember the exact people that I dealt with then, because at that time I could truly say I wasn't the same person. I approached things from a different standpoint then. Then everything was about either you give it or we go to war. And my way of expressing myself was with my hands. So if people didn't give us jobs and they came in our community, I felt that they was taken from us, and I felt it was right that I put my hands on them, which was 100% wrong. And today I have a different opinion and a different approach.
So when you heard about the project, what did you do?
When I heard about the project, I went and I started speaking to people. First person I spoke to was Assemblyman Roger Green. And I told him that we needed jobs out of this. I talked to Councilwoman Tish James, and I talked about the job aspect. And I talked to Congressman Towns' office. I talked to anybody who would listen, because at the time I had statistics that other people didn't have. And those statistics was there was 78% unemployment in Ingersoll-Whitman, 65% unemployment in Farragut, which is high. It's even high for the level that's for black men in New York City right now. They said black man is 51% unemployment. Well, in this area, we're talking about 78% unemployment. So with that being the dynamics of how we existed in this area on the economic level, I said what needs to be done is, if this development is going to go up, we need to get jobs. And I began to create an organization called BUILD, Brooklyn United for Innovative Local Development. I'm actually the founder of BUILD, was the first president, and since founding it, since being the president, I resigned.
And why did you resign?
I resigned because what I did with BUILD was basically an experiment on helping the community come together to fight for the issues that affect us. And I felt that people that live in public housing and people who lived in brownstones, I felt that they had the same issues. I felt that they seen things the same way, and I felt that we could fight this battle together. But as I developed the board and we began to move forward, I began to see that our objectives wasn't the same. Mine was basically focusing on jobs and jobs, period. And their focus was on a lot of different issues. When I created BUILD, I really didn't want to focus on a lot of different issues. I wanted to focus on the employment aspect. And I felt that I needed to resign. I needed to create another organization that could focus particularly on employment. And that organization that I created was People for Political and Economic Empowerment.
And what's going on with that?
Well, at this time, People for Political and Economic Empowerment is so far got about 40 people working. We go out and find jobs with the help of our elected officials. They have been helping us find jobs. They have been telling and asking, rather, not telling because they don't have that power, but they have been asking the developers in the area, small companies in the area, everybody, to just sit down and just give them a chance to speak to you. And once they gave me a chance to speak to them, I haven't had a situation yet where somebody has turned me down to put people to work.
Right. And so you spoke at the rally last week because you feel like you're on the road?
I spoke on the rally last week because when I was first putting together BUILD, I was talking about the community benefit agreement, because I was the one that said we need to bring the concept of the community benefit agreement that they use in Staples Center in Los Angeles. We need to bring that concept here so the community could benefit all around with the development that's going on. And when I brought that forward, that was one piece of the package. I wanted to get by that before I went to the other piece. The other piece is a project labor agreement. The community benefit agreement is an agreement that you set up with the developer, but for this to be successful, for it to actually affect 78% unemployment in this area, there needs to be a project labor agreement in place with the unions. If there's no project labor agreement in place with the unions, all the community benefit agreements, all the hopes, all the aspirations that even Ratner might want to put people to work will not work. And there will just be another document written. There will just be people giving promises, and what will happen is it will still be the same way. The development will go on. You'll still see 78% unemployment.
And where does that stand right now? How's that coming?
Well, at this point, we're developing the community, the project labor agreement, and we're putting it together. It's not fully together. I'm going to get pieces that other people have put with it. I'm going to add pieces myself, and then we'll present it to the unions. And one of the things that I personally is going to definitely tell the unions, if they can't do a project labor agreement, why would this community want this project? Because if this community can't go to work on this project, but it gets all the pains and suffering of traffic and everything else from this project, but there's no project labor agreement, there's no reason for this. What kind of benefit would it do for the community? We talk about eminent domain. Eminent domain, when you use eminent domain, you use it to benefit the community. And if this doesn't benefit the community in terms of affecting the 78% unemployment here, what kind of benefit is it going to do? Is it going to benefit us by putting people to work from Long Island, people to work from Jersey, people to work from all over the place, coming here to reap the benefit and just leave us with the struggle of the traffic, of the environment impact things is going to happen? Nah, if this is going to happen, it must benefit the community in a real way. We talk about high crime. We talk about there's just been a situation where 50-something individuals were arrested and indicted on conspiracy, a gang, right here in Ingersoll. But is that a situation that would have existed if the development that went on in this area would have actually affected this area with jobs? I don't think it's a situation that would have existed. But this will continue to exist as long as people are not given employment. And without a project labor agreement, that employment will not happen. So, in my opinion...
But it sounds like you were the only person talking about anything like that up there. And the only one thinking about it, really. Because the unions were there, you know... And it was almost like they allowed you up there grudgingly. Well,
actually, I didn't want to go up there, actually. Because I felt that after I got there and I began to hear everybody speak, even the group that I created, and I began to hear the people speak, it didn't speak to the people who are really hurting, the people who are really suffering. And when this first started out, and I was at Borough Hall, and I was going from meeting to meeting, and I was galvanizing these people and bringing them together, it started out because something needed to be done for this community, something that needed to be done for the high crime rate. And we seen this as an opportunity. And Build and people in Build start getting in arguments with other groups about racism and all that because you want your house and we want jobs. And I said, hold up, they can have their house and we can still have jobs. My thing was that this is not me or Build fighting them or them fighting Build. This is two individuals with needs. One individual needs to keep his home, and other individual needs employment. And in the individual, I'm talking about groups as individuals. And in that process, it doesn't mean that either one has to lose. And my thing was, if you keep your homes and they do some other kind of development, I still want jobs. My thinking was that I'm not against you. I just want to be at the table, and I'm not going to move myself away from the table. And to the day, I've still said the same thing. I'm not against any other group, and for whatever they're going for, whatever they need to keep their housing, their property, their community in a certain way, all I'm for is to ensure that in some shape, form, or fashion, those who develop inside this community, not only Bruce, but we happen to be focusing on Bruce because he's the one that's doing a big job at this moment. He's the one presenting a stadium. So even him, I'm just focused on it for the jobs. If he didn't do the stadium, let's say he didn't do it, and he did housing, I'll still be saying that housing, the construction on that housing, the maintenance jobs that comes after that housing up, the supporting businesses that come into existing after that housing up, I'll still be saying we need agreements to ensure that some way, some shape or fashion, that affects the 78% to 65% and the other surrounding housing developments, because you got White Clough, you got Lafayette Gardens, you got Atlantic Terminal, you got other development, you got Gowanus, right in the same development area that needs employment. Because if I had the statistics of those developments, I'm pretty sure it's the same way. It's the same way. So this development, you got almost 18 billion. His project is $2.5 billion, and that helps change lives. You talk about a union job. You talk about, for instance, a laborer making $68. What is it? I mean, $48 an hour, something like that. You talk about windows, because that's the business I'm in. I'm into windows, and I'm a window installer. Talk about $65 an hour. That's life-changing type of money. That's the type of money, because they said, well, the jobs is only going to last for 10 years. If somebody gets paid $65 an hour for a span of 10 years and don't know how to invest and don't know how to prepare for the time after that, something's wrong. So I said that 10 years is a beautiful run for a lot of people out here to prepare to change their life and have it go in other directions if that's not going to last. But I feel that a lot of that work should go to the people in the community. I stood there on the platform and they said that the job was going to be 100% union. A community project labor agreement would allow for them to some companies. I know a lot of businesses around here, including my own, that I'm not union. But I would like to install some of the windows. That's a lot of windows for 4,500 units of housing for all the storefronts. That's a lot of work. I would like to do that, but I'm not union. A project labor agreement would allow me to be union for that job and that job only. And that would allow me to work on that job. Because for a company like mine that's real small, if I was to turn union, after that job, I couldn't get any work anywhere else, because then I couldn't afford to pay the people, because now I would have to pay them certain wages even on little jobs. Then I couldn't bid for the jobs and win them. So a project labor agreement actually helps small individuals get a piece of the pie also. Small companies that are based right here in Brooklyn that can't go on that union job because they're not union and are incapable of coming union because most of the work they do is private work. So it would help them get into the program. Project labor agreement would help get more people into the training process and get them prepared to be on the job, because we could get training, we could get them into apprenticeship programs. It would open up the process for the people that's in the community for real. And that's why I feel that it's real important that the project labor agreement is implemented. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of people speaking on the project labor agreement. Yeah, I was told even before I walked up there by Bertha that making sure, because we ain't got that much time, and we didn't, because I seen it was something that they was doing in within a half an hour. They were trying to throw everybody in there, so we didn't have that much time. So my biggest thing was to say, yeah, community benefit agreement is great and it's part of this process, but I wanted to say to the unions Did it was okay? Did we? Hello? Yeah, I'm doing an interview right now. I'll call you right back.